It's
Little
so
baby shark.
tiny.
I would never.
Oh, look at it moving around in there.
If I saw this on the ground, I would never be like, well, that's a shark egg. I would think it was just trash or something.
Yeah.
Or some piece off a ship. Or,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a shark
wild.
egg. I figured that'd be something you didn't know.
That is wild.
Hello, darlings.
Hello.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery Podcast.
I am Kara.
And I'm Megan.
And we're terrified of sharks.
I'll probably cut all that out anyway.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay, I found this episode as I was jumping down the Patreon rabbit hole for Tim Molnar, and I am baffled.
That episode probably won't be posted by the time we post this one.
Okay, great. Well, guys, there's Tim Molnar. Don't Google it yet. Listen to my story.
Before we get into your story, I wanted to say something. I mentioned this on the Patreon episode, but I wanted to say it in the regular feed. We did our watch party to watch the first episode.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun.
Yeah, we watched it. It's just for the Patreon, but if you're on the Patreon, make sure that you get on there and see, download Discord, which is just a really easy app. You can chat in.
Listen, if I can use it, you can use
it. There's a link in the Patreon for you so you can join straight to our Discord. And then we just all watched the first episode of the Murdoch Murders, A Southern Scandal together on Netflix and chatted while we watched it. And it was so fun. I just really loved it. It was nice. It felt like we were all together.
Community, yeah.
I mean, we really do have the best community. There's been some really nice posts in the Facebook group lately talking about how great our community is.
I love it.
It's so much. So much. It's the best. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I love it.
I want to do a bunch more of those watch parties. Just watching different things.
All the things. Not even true crime related things.
But some true crime things.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't know.
About this story?
Yeah. Okay. I am just like,
is this another missing person?
Oh, it sure is.
What are you doing?
How did I get here?
You're spoiling me rotten.
How did I get here?
Okay.
Juan Pedro Martinez.
Ooh.
Was born January 1st, 1976. His father's Andreas, mother's Carmen. Juan is about 10 years old. And he and his parents, on June 25th, 1986, decide to go on a road trip.
Okay.
You see, Juan's dad is driving a tanker, large truck, full of acid.
Oh.
And he's like, listen, I got to go deliver this. Why don't you all just hop in? We'll make a little road trip. And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
I have concerns.
Oh, yeah, you sure do. They're enjoying their little trip. And they are stopping at different places, enjoying it. Oh, by the way, they take Juan with them because he's excelling in school. And they're like, here's a treat. This is a little treat for you. You're doing so good. And the school was like, his grades are so good. He's so far.
We don't care.
Just take him. Yeah. Okay. So they're stopping in all the places in Spain. So they're just eating all the good food, stopping at rest places. And I'm sure as a 10-year-old kid, he's like, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I get to drive in this big truck.
You're out of school. Yeah.
Right.
It feels like an adventure.
Yeah. So then, according to the truck's system, it said that the dad starts driving erratically.
Uh-oh.
And the dad crashes into several cars. He knocks a mirror off of a car, rear ends another car. And then they end up speeding down the mountain. And then they collide with another car. The truck overturns, ends up in a ditch on the side of the mountain road. Acid is spilling everywhere.
Oh, God, I forgot about the acid.
Noxious gas is just making clouds everywhere.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so witnesses are like, oh my God, everybody's going to die. We got to report this. The Spanish Civil Guard gets there quickly. They find both the parents. The parents died on impact.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. Oh, we don't know.
We don't know where Juan is.
Oh, no.
10 hours into this whole situation, the grandparents find out about it.
10 hours? Why did it take 10 hours to notify the grandparents?
I
need answers right
exactly.
now. Explain
So
yourself.
The grandparents are like, okay, but Juan's fine then? Since, we're devastated that they died. But
because nobody would have known there was a child there.
There's a kid?
Oh, God.
Yeah, so 10 hours go by before they find this out. They just frantically start searching everywhere for the boy. They find some evidence of him. They said that there was a rubber sole of a shoe, and then they found some like cassette tapes of his, but there's no evidence like of blood from where he was sitting or like anything like that.
So no evidence that something happened to him.
Right.
There's just nothing.
They're just like, okay, well, did he survive the crash? Did he try to walk to get help for his parents? Like he couldn't wake them up, so he's like freaking out and walks down the street.
Yeah, but you would
wouldn't
think
have the people
right.
that
people
they
would have
crashed
seen the
into or
crash
like
happen.
that experienced it, wouldn't they have seen this kid walking down the road?
You would think.
Mm-hmm. Newspapers, all sorts of places start picking up on this. They said data from just prior to the crash was stored in the truck's device that records all that information, like the speed and all that stuff of commercial trucks.
Mm-hmm.
It said that it was going roughly 86 miles per hour downhill.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And then they said that it was like making several stops. So it would stop and then it would go, like it would refuel. So they figured out like what that stop was for. And then they stopped again for breakfast. So they figured out like what that stop was for. But then there was several within a time span of like 12 hours that they would drive and then like stop for 20 seconds and then drive from stop for 20 seconds. But then they researched it. There's no landslides on that little pass. There's no traffic jams. There's no other accidents. So like, what is going on?
Wow.
So some people are just like, okay, well, what if he's a drug smuggler? What if he's a drug dealer? And they were like, that's false.
Like he's stopping and dropping stuff off?
Yeah, like yeah. Or like being followed by the cartel or what, I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
So people were like, there's no way that that's possible. Like he's not that kind of family. The mom's not, they're not that kind of people.
Well, and you would think you wouldn't take your son with you on that kind of a trip.
Yeah. So then the civil guard's like, fine, guys, you all are spreading this rumor so far and wide about the drug stuff. We will look further into it. Mm-hmm. They look again at all the compartments of the truck and they do find drugs.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Some people are like, okay, but he just like a year ago bought this truck. So maybe it was already there. But then other people are like, why would a drug dealer leave their drugs
you wouldn't
in a
leave.
truck they're selling?
You just wouldn't.
Right. They were just like, okay, well, what then happened? Or
I wonder. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wonder if they'd ever taken Tim with them on one of these trips before, or if this was the first time ever.
You mean Juan? Tim was the other missing guy.
Okay.
I don't think Tim went to Spain.
You don't think Tim's there?
No.
Maybe Tim is in Spain.
Probably
first.
Is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Juan though.
Yeah.
That's who I think we should.
That's
who we should focus on right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Juan. What I'm wondering is it really unusual that they decided
to up and take him on this little trip?
This one? Like, did they know maybe? Like, were they afraid to leave him alone? Were they running from something?
Right. That's what I was going to say. Like,
they had a truck full of acid.
Acid. Yeah.
Because if you're going to run away, you don't do it in like that kind of a truck. Yes.
Know? Yeah.
Unless they were just like, we're going to all stay together because that's safer. Mm-hmm. I need to know where my child is all the time.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So then the owner of the trucking company, the truck that had acid in it, said this statement. Drug traffickers were able to take the kid away from them with threats to force him to do something he didn't want. Perhaps they forced him to transport the cargo by kidnapping the boy until the merchandise arrived in Bilbao. Or Bilbao, whatever. Mm-hmm. Bilbo. Bilbo Baggins.
Okay. So how does he know that?
You're right.
Oh, he's just speculating?
Yeah.
Because he says it like it's a fact.
Right. Are you the person that's trafficking drugs?
Sometimes people are just so sure that they're right about everything that they speak in absolutes when they shouldn't.
Exactly. So then, like, their whole family is convinced that Juan was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. They think that they were terrified. Yep. They think that the drug traffickers that did it, they thought that he was either kidnapped prior to the crash.
I had that thought. Like, do we even know if he was in the car when it crashed?
Right. Or afterwards to hold as like ransom or something. So his family thinks that maybe there was like a checkpoint, maybe. Mm-hmm. And so the people following them to make sure they transported the drugs to where they needed to go freaked out and somehow crashed the truck, caused the crash.
But that also seems like, unless it wasn't purposeful, but like you risk destroying whatever drugs are in the truck if you
Exactly.
purposely
So
cause an
now
accident.
my thought is immediately going to this. What if there was a car in front of them that knew they had that amount of drugs with them?
Mm-hmm.
So the car in front of them slams on their brakes to make them stop every so many seconds like that. And they would sit for so many seconds and then keep going.
But why?
And then stop. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or maybe that's how they stole the kid, like stopped the truck and like forced the kid. I don't.
Yeah, because it could be that the drugs have nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think like there was somebody who somehow got into the truck and surprised them, there was a struggle, it's still such a risk to take.
Exactly.
Because that person could have just as easily been killed in the crash
Yes.
too. If both of his parents died on impact, it was clearly a bad wreck.
Yeah. So after they came out with all this stuff, Juan's family, they started getting threatening phone calls from a criminal network. But Spanish authorities...
Hold, please. Criminal network on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a minute.
Yeah,
Martha,
yeah.
are you ready?
Are you ready? You're stupid.
That's what they say.
Blah, 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 you're
It's the
stupid.
third graders criminal network. You're a
Go to Jupiter.
You're dumb.
I hate you. Kick rocks.
I'm rubber. You're glue. We have
Okay.
to joke about this, guys.
Because this is awful.
God.
Okay, so they start getting all these threatening phone calls. And the Spanish authorities were just like, I don't think that's it. I don't think this is what happened to him, really, though.
See where I never trust any government ever of anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I don't care that you don't think this.
Right. But Juan's family was like, okay, you all may say that, but we don't see you all doing any investigation.
True.
So
we're at least going to do something.
we're just going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Spanish Civil Guard has 3 theories about what happened. They don't like the idea of drug dealers taking him. So there's that.
They don't like.
No,
we just don't
you know
like
what idea they did think was plausible?
Uh-oh.
His body was dissolved in acid that spilled.
Oh. What kind of acid was it? And wouldn't someone have known?
Right. No, and also there would have been some evidence left behind because
Yeah.
remember that one I did?
Yes, the acid bath guy.
Murderer. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
there were still things left
there were.
behind.
There were.
Mhm. So that's not. I don't think that works.
Well, that's the one that gives them permission to stop investigating.
Right, and then it says that they did test this theory with critter bones. And it took 5 days for those bones to be affected by the acid. So the fact that they arrived on scene when it had just happened.
At the very least, they would have looked really hard at 10
Right.
hours after when they found out there was a kid involved.
Yeah.
They would have found something.
Okay, so then another one is Juan's thrown from the truck. Nobody ever found him.
I mean,
Over the
how
mountain.
far?
Over the mountain, I guess. I don't know. They just...
Into orbit? Like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? Where'd he go?
Yeah.
You'd
It
still
said
find
that
him.
they said, you know what, maybe he did get tossed out of the truck and he got some burns from the acid. So then he went to the river and washed his wounds. That's pretty far-fetched, don't you think?
I mean, it's a kid. You would go find an adult.
Yeah.
If you're hurt.
So they're like,
if you're capable of walking to the river.
Exactly. So you're thinking, as a 10-year-old whose parents are dying, I got some wounds that I need to go
I'm gonna
climb
go-
into the river
We don't
to
want to get an
soothe.
infection.
Right. And then the river just sweeps him off. So that's just what happened to him.
And
They
no
didn't
one saw anything.
Right. Nothing floating down the river or anything.
I don't believe that.
Another one was that he survived and then ran away. Peace out. I'm
Again,
gone,
you'd
guys.
think he would want his grandparents or someone he knows. He just went through some traumatic, awful thing.
Exactly. Another is that he survived, but he's picked up.
Like kidnapped?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then another one, kidnapped. Or another one is that he was so badly injured that people stopped to help him, but he died on the way to the hospital, and they said, "Oh, we can't take a dead kid to the hospital, so we're just going to dispose of the body."
See, I
Like,
just
that's
don't see
another
that.
far-fetched.
Yeah.
Like, how did you
would
get
just
to that
be like,
conclusion?
just tell the truth. I found this kid. He was badly injured and
Uh-huh.
he died. Why would you go through the thing of now you've committed a crime by
Right.
hiding a body?
Right. I don't know. Did he survive the crash and something happened?
I don't know.
There are no updates. So there was one time, May 1987, the owner of a driving school told authorities that he met an elderly blind woman who had a boy as a guide. The boy was about 10 or 11 and looked a lot like Juan. But they said they were convinced that it was Juan, but they were completely gone by the time that they realized that and tried to report it. So they had no clue where they would have been at that point.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, he's probably changed a lot if he's still alive.
I mean, you wonder about stuff like if he's a really traumatic accident, would he have amnesia or some sort of PTSD, like where he's blocked out? Because if he went through that horrible accident, what did he see?
Right.
But I think the thing that I keep thinking about is the way his dad was driving so erratically before the crash.
Yeah. And
Like,
there was
what
drugs
going
attached
on?
to the car. Like, did dad know? Or were people following? Like, was there drug cartel working for that trucking company that nobody was aware of? They knew this truck was headed to this one specific location. So they just attached the drugs and then they followed them to get them off at that specific point. But then did they fight back? Did the parents I don't know.
I feel like,
And then they just took the kid out of spite
but it seems more likely to me that the kid was not at the crash site ever.
Right.
Because someone would have seen, he would have been found dead.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been seen being taken away or walking away.
Yeah.
Right. So like he probably was taken or disappeared or whatever
Yeah.
before this crash.
Yeah.
And maybe his dad was driving so erratically because he was upset and emotional.
Right.
Maybe he and his wife were arguing.
Yeah.
Because they're both upset and emotional.
Or what if the car with him in it was in front of them as they were trying to escape and the dad was trying to catch up to them?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe someone had kidnapped Juan and his dad was chasing him down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what made him drive erratically and what made him crash?
And no one will ever know if the parents were aware of the drugs being in the car or not because they died on impact.
Or maybe someone does know, like a close friend, a family
Yeah,
member who would just never talk about it.
Right.
But just, I mean, but I don't think he died in the crash because I think they would have found something.
Yeah.
They found his parents. Why wouldn't they find him?
Right,
I get that he's smaller, but come on.
But also to find like a sole of his shoe or something and cassette tapes. Like what happened to his shoe? Or you know how kids just pick at their shoes if they're falling apart.
He could have just not had his shoes on.
Yeah.
And then maybe the shoes got messed up with the acid.
Yeah.
Or it could have been an old shoe that was left in there from a different trip. Yeah. That's so weird.
Isn't it? Like there's so many possibilities.
It's so sad too.
But also some of the options that they came up with, I'm like, ow.
Yeah. I was just so sad.
Yeah.
I don't know why someone would pick him up if it wasn't like ill-intentioned.
Right. What do you all think?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think we have a lot of Spanish listeners either, but I'm going to put in the show notes, I'll put the information about if you have any information, who to contact. It feels like a long shot.
Yeah. And if you have ideas of what they would have said over the phone.
The third grade criminal network?
Yeah. Probably a little better than ours, but
I doubt it.
Probably not.
And it's also so hard because he's so young when he disappeared that like he could look so different now and have no idea.
Right. And all of the articles that I read said pretty much these exact same things. Like this is the only information that they had.
You know, we have the whole thing where they disappear young and then you don't even remember.
Yeah.
There's that girl that just came out in the news last week. She was missing since 2017 and a store owner recognized her from Unsolved Mysteries and they found her.
That is so wild.
She was 9 years old when she disappeared. So she's 15 now. She was taken from Illinois. She was found safe in North Carolina. She was abducted by her non-custodial mother. And I think a whole lot of those are maybe not that it would make you feel better if your child was missing, but at least you'd have some kind of hope of like, at least they're with a parent who would hopefully love them and take care of them. But something like this, gosh, it's just so terrible to think about. Who could he be with?
Exactly. And what is he going through? Like,
and now, gosh, he'd be 50, 86, Megan.
63.
It is not 2000 anymore.
I was born in 87. So.
He'd be 60 something. Math is fun.
Yeah.
Even if he survived the crash, he may no longer be alive, but it is just such a weird, because you don't know what angle to go at it from.
Right.
Was someone just wanting to kidnap Juan? Is this drug related? Right. Is it none of those things? And there's a factor we don't know.
Yep.
Terrible.
47.
Really? I'm 43.
He was born in 1976.
I'm 43, and he has to be 3 years older than me, so you're right. He'd be 46 or 47.
I was like, well, I was born in 87 and he's born 11 years before
We're good
me.
at this.
So 36.
Next, we're starting a math podcast where we just shout out numbers and answer them for fun.
It's so fun.
I can't wait. All right. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, we love you all so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.